Welcome in, you oddballs, to the Oddity Shop, where the bazaar is always on sale. I'm your curator, Kara, and this is your curator, Zach.
Hello.
And this is the podcast where we
tell you creepy, strange, weird, bizarre, haunted, paranormal, cannibal-y stories from around the world. Spoiler alert.
Boo, boo, boo. And I will say this is the earliest we have ever fucking recorded.
I know. It's like broad daylight out. You can see my whole room.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to try to block the sun in here and be dark. I just couldn't do it.
No, look at us being day people. How's your day been so far?
It has been, water's been coming out of my butthole. So that's...
Oh, I just took a drink.
I know, that's purposely why I told you.
Oh my God.
Okay. So that's that.
We're getting real comfy.
They all know our butt.
Well, mine's been not my butthole, but my day has been watery too. But that's because I made it out kayaking this morning.
Kayak.
Yeah, so
idiot.
I mean, I guess my butt was a little wet, but for very different reasons.
Okay, cool. Moving on. So yesterday I had this lady freak out
at work.
But listen, she was in her late 60s. So not like old, but to me, I would think that she was too old to be a Swiftie.
Oh, no.
I just would. Okay. Cutest lady I've ever seen. But she kept freaking out because she insisted that I looked like Taylor Swift. And I don't see that at all. Now I had my bangs down, so maybe, but like, she's like, no, she's like, you look just like Taylor Swift. If she had dark hair.
If like the bangs and your cheekbones are literally
maybe
the only two things.
And she said my smile, but she kept going on though to the point where she called her husband and she's like, this girl, Kara, that I just met looks like Taylor Swift, but she sounds just like her and all her mannerisms are exactly the same. I'm not kidding you. For like an hour, this lady freaked out that I looked.
I think she's just like trying to like hopefully meet Taylor Swift.
It was crazy. But I had to call Emily, my friend Emily, who's obsessed with Taylor Swift. And she's like, well, obviously that's the only reason why we're friends. I'm like, you're so stupid. So that was funny. And then I have a funny Lynn story that I was going to call you last night, but you were busy.
Uh-oh. Is Lynn going to be okay that we talk about her funny story on here?
Probably not, but you know, it's fine. It was cute.
Well, hey, Lynn, sorry in advance.
She's behind on episodes anyway, so that she won't hear this for a long time. So she goes to me. She goes, oh my God. So I was watching Good Morning America or something like that. And this guy, I don't know, but it made me think of you because you have a few friends. And I said, Lynn, what? And I'm like, what? And then she starts laughing. And then I realize like what she's trying to say. But she's like, so I can't remember what his name is. He's an artist. And well, actually, I don't know what they identify as because it's just all confusing to me. And I'm like, are you saying because I have a few gay friends? And I'm like, you're so stupid. I'm like, Zach. She goes, well, Zach. She's like, well, Zach doesn't really count. Like, you know, like he won't be mad. But I was like, you're so dumb. But she basically was trying to tell me that David Archuleta came out with a song about his mom not knowing how to deal with him coming out because she was such a religious person.
Oh,
and then
geez.
at one point, she basically said, if you have to go to hell, I'll go with you. And so the song is going to hell with you or something. But my mom was like crying, right?
Of course, Lynn would be.
It was just so awesome. I was like, okay, thanks for the story.
How cute. I love her.
It was cute.
You got to tell her. Well, actually, I'll just tell her hi. Hi, Lynn.
We have tickets to go see the Beach Boys.
I am super jealous of that. I loved the Beach Boys growing up. I don't know why that like
it's my favorite
60s, 70s surf music was so good.
It was my favorite. I listened to it all the time on repeat when I was a little kid. I would carry around my big yellow cassette player.
Nice.
And just listen to fucking Beach Boys in the backyard like a weirdo.
Ooh, I just bought tickets yesterday. One of my friends told me that my favorite band, currently, it's been my favorite band for the last couple of years, but the Front Bottoms are coming to Grand Rapids in October. And last time they were here, I didn't go, even though I had tickets. So I'm super fucking pumped to see them this time. And I'm going.
When is it?
October 13th or 18th. I think 18th.
Oh, so you've got to wait.
I know, but at least I have a lot to look forward to.
That's awesome.
Okay, one last story, then we'll get into it. We're going back to our water theme from the beginning of this episode. So, there is a Titanic museum that just got a replica of the car that, you know, Jack and Rose leave that nice little handprint on.
Oh my God.
It's like one of two of that car that exists. The other one's in the bottom of the ocean at the Titanic. This one's now in a Titanic museum. And since they put it in at night, water keeps like collecting under it and around it. And the Titanic museum is flooding.
Up.
And everyone thinks
Oh
it's
my
paranormal
God.
related because they cannot find the source of the water. So
I didn't know there's only 2 of that car.
that's what was on the TikTok. Okay, so that's as far as I researched. But the top comment also said, as a historian and a museum curator, I can tell you that all Titanic exhibits are haunted. So you and I have to find a way to stay overnight in a Titanic exhibit and do some paranormal investigation.
Oh my God. Let's do it.
Let's manifest
that sounds crazy. That's awesome. How would it not be haunted?
It has to be. Okay, we've gabbed enough, though. Are you ready for a question?
Ask me again if I'm right.
I'm not going to ask you again. I'm just going to ask you the damn question. If you were lost in the middle of the mountains in a crazy blizzard, what steps would you take to survive?
Oh, you know what my step would be? The number one step? That would never happen. I would never be in a winter element like that ever.
What if you were in a plane or something and it went down and you didn't have a choice? You're like, I'm unbuckling the seatbelt. I'm not dealing with it.
Yeah, I hate this kind of stuff because I would love to think that I would power through. Because I am a fighter. I am. Like, I'm pretty resilient, but I fucking hate snow. I hate being cold. And I don't want to have to kill everybody to survive. And that's what I probably would have to do.
Oh.
So I don't know.
All right. Well, you hold on to that, because in November 1873, 21 men decide to set out from Utah to Breckenridge, Colorado in search of gold and a better life.
Okay.
And in April of 1874, only one man of the 21 emerges from the wilderness near Lake City, Colorado.
Out of 21 people, only one?
Yeah. His name is Alfred Packer, otherwise known as the Colorado Cannibal. Have you ever heard of him?
I don't think so. I could be wrong, but see?
Okay.
I don't want to have to be that one. And now I'm a cannibal. Although I love cannibal stories. I very much do.
All right.
Well,
you're going to love
I don't know if I could do it.
Let's get into Alfred's backstory, and then I'm going to tell you how he ended up in the woods. So, he was born 1842 in Pennsylvania to James and Esther, who also had 2 other kiddos. And by the 50s, his family had moved to Indiana, where his dad was a cabinet maker.
Okay.
Alfred, for whatever reason, and I couldn't figure it out, did not get along with his parents or his 2 siblings. Like I said, I really couldn't find much on why, but we do know in his late teens, he decides to leave his family and move to Minnesota, where he kind of follows in his dad's footsteps of being like a crafty, maker. But he was a shoemaker instead of a cabinet maker.
Okay.
He also hated his family so much that he changed the pronunciation of his name from Alfred to Alfred.
I think I like Alfred better. Wait.
It sounds a little more
Alfred?
like uppity.
Alfred. I like that better, I think. I like it better.
Well, he did too, it seems.
Clearly.
So by 1862, though, he decides a life of making shoes is not that fulfilling, so he enlists in the Union Army during the Civil War, which just makes you have to... How bad is making shoes if you want to join the army during the Civil War?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're just really sick of the mundane and the same thing over and over again.
Right.
But I don't know if it would be that bad.
The Civil War?
No, the shoemaking.
Oh, okay. Well, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately for Alfred, he's discharged only 8 months into his enlistment because he has really bad epilepsy and seizures, and you can't make it too far as a soldier. But that doesn't stop Alfred, because in 63, so the very next year, he enlists again and is once again honorably discharged. So he tried twice, 2 different states.
Oh, no.
But, after his failed attempt to join the army, he decides he's going to move out west, where he tries literally every possible job on the face of the planet at that time. So he was a hunter, a wagon driver, a ranch hand, a field worker. He tried to be a gold prospector, and he tried to be a guide for people trying to find gold.
Wow, that's a lot of hats.
It's a lot of hat. And they only lasted a couple months because, one, his health and the seizures.
Yeah, that's sad.
As a guide, he was just always really good at losing his way.
Oh, then how are you? Okay.
And apparently he just also had a really terrible attitude and was disliked by people very quickly. So he never really lasted long. So great guide, right? We got seizures, losing his way, and just a general nasty person. So he...
Oh my God. Please don't tell me that he led all of these 20 people.
I'm going to have to tell you that, but not yet. So he does try to become a gold prospector first, and then he finds himself in Utah. Okay, so he's in Utah. He's going to start a new life here, and he thinks, maybe people won't think I'm so argumentative or a pathological liar or a thief. So he starts a new plan. He starts gaslighting as a guide for gold prospectors again.
Oh my God, I legit thought you meant like he just started gaslighting people.
Well,
same.
Prospectors are people. So he's going to help them get across the wilderness to find lands flowing with gold.
Okay.
See, he might not have been a great guide, but he did hear rumors that gold had been discovered in Breckenridge, Colorado.
Okay.
So around the same time, it's November 1873, a group of 20 men also hear this rumor up in Utah about gold, and they decide to set out on an expedition from Utah over the San Juan Mountains, going into Colorado for the riches that awaited them.
Interesting.
Yes. So near Provo, Utah, they run into a man named Alfred Packer, who would like to join their expedition. He convinces these 20 men that he's a great prospector and guide. He offered them $25 to join their merry little group, which $25 in the 1800s is probably a couple hundred today.
And I mean, there's 20 people. I'm sure there's like what's one more?
And they were literally looking for a guide, so they accept his offer pretty well right away. Okay, so they set off for the gold-laden hills, all 21 of them, and it's kind of important to note this was like a super harsh winter, and they're setting out in November. The snow and the weather creates like really difficult terrain for them to cover, but luckily they had an amazing guide with them.
This just doesn't.
As time goes on, they're moving much slower than anticipated. It could be because their compasses weren't working great, or that they had incomplete maps, or it could be because their guide was completely incompetent, who kept having seizures, who kept whining that he didn't bring enough provisions when the other men did, kept getting them lost and turned around, or arguing with them because he thought they should share their food and money with him.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, this is their guide.
They regret this decision.
Oh, yeah, because rumors start to spread now. So throughout the camp, right, of these 21 men, they start to spread that Alfred is a huge fraud, a liar, and one even claims to know that he had spent some time in jail in Utah for killing his hunting partner. Yeah, they don't like him very much. So they are, now quite weary of Alfred, and they are going to continue on as he continues to make little comments about how much money they have and how much little he has. But he does stop whining about them having more food than him because everybody's provisions start to run out because they were not very well prepared by their guide.
Well, that, but also hasn't he already gotten them lost and crazy? So they're
just going slow because of the weather right now.
Okay.
But yeah, he's just not doing a good job overall. So anyways, though, as the provisions start to run out, they do start to eat the horse food.
Oh my God, I thought you were going to say the horse.
Well, then some of the members claim that they were starting to eye the horses. The horses are in luck. Because it was about this time, so it's now late January. Remember, they left in November. That they come across a Native American encampment that belonged to Chief Ouray, whose nickname was Friend of the White Man. So they kind of have some good luck. Okay,
so call it 2 months in. Did we have a thought or an idea of how long it was going to take? Or no, they didn't necessarily have a time.
I didn't find that. I'm sure somewhere there was, but it's taken them about twice as long as it should have at this point. Okay. But the thing is there's really not a should have for this one because he's guiding them, but making up their own way.
Right.
Okay. Where this encampment is, they are actually in Colorado now from Utah, which is good. It's near what would modern day be Delta, Colorado. So they are actually heading the right way, believe it or not. So the chief lives up to his name, though. He allows the men to recover. He feeds them. He gives them lodging. He actually tries to convince them to stay until the spring. because the trek through the mountains is obviously, like way easier in the springtime.
Yeah. So why wouldn't they? Oh God, because of our idiot.
Just hold on to your horses.
Sorry.
Don't eat your horses yet.
I would never.
So, I mean, Chief Foray even was like, listen, us members of the Ute tribe, like who've lived in this area forever, wouldn't even attempt this in the middle of winter. And like, they know the land.
That's so alarming.
Yes. So alarming that of the 21 men that set out, 11 of them decide to move forward. 10 of them decide to stay.
At least we have some smart people.
Right. So now, it's of the original 20 men plus Alfred, the guide, only half of them continue to try to push onward. Onward. So the chief, though, he does tell them like they should head over like a slightly different direction because that would put them next to another encampment, or more of an outpost that's like Native American and white men living together, which is kind of cool. So that they could recover again. Alfred, though, he's like, nah, I know better. We're going through the mountains.
Oh my God.
He's just literally looking at a map, drawing a straight line to Breckenridge, and is like, we're going this way. He somehow convinces 5 of the remaining 10 to continue with him, even though like they all already basically hate him.
I'm surprised that they were even able to be convinced.
Especially because the other 5 men look at Alfred and go, if you change your mind and try to follow us, we are going to shoot you.
Oh my God. What year is this again?
1874 now. It started in 1873.
I'm just very surprised that they're like, okay, let's truck on with this.
I wouldn't.
But I mean, I guess, I don't know. What's the alternative?
The alternative is to go the way the guy who just saved your life told you to go, where you would have more chances for safety. Or he also offered for you to stay with them to spring when it's easy. So like they had lots of options. I don't know how.
Yeah.
Okay. So now it's February. Your favorite way of me saying it, February 9th.
I love it. It's because you say it correct. We all say it wrong.
I don't pronounce one of the R's. I always say February.
It's fine. I like it.
Okay, whatever. Packard and his 5 friends head out on the final 75 miles. So now we have Alfred Packer, Shannon Bell, James Humphrey, Frank Miller, George Noon, and the best name for last, Israel Swan, which is just cool.
That's really cute. I like that.
So the other guys who go out, remember, they're going the easier way. They actually turn around and head back to Chief Foray really quickly because it's just getting worse.
Okay, so we have more smart-ish people.
Yes. Okay, so they have enough food and provisions for like 14 days that would take them to travel the 75 miles in good weather. They barely have enough warm clothing, though. And the only defense they have is 2 rifles, the pistol that Alfred brought with them, a couple of knives, and a hatchet. They have just enough food if they were going to make it on time, not enough warm weather, and like nothing to defend themselves.
I don't have any comments.
Well, it's only going to get worse from here, so you'll have some comments.
Of course.
So that's mid-February, right, when they set out with not enough supplies. April 16th.
So we started in November?
Yes.
Holy
and then
shit.
they re-left that second encampment in February.
Yeah.
April 16th, Alfred emerges near the Los Pinos outpost, the one that everyone else was going to go to, which is near Lake City, Colorado today. He looks haggard, but like surprisingly healthy for enduring 2 months on 14 days of supplies. And it is only him and not his 5 friends.
Because he ate them.
Oh, spoilers. I mean, I did say it was like Colorado Cannibal, but okay. He immediately goes into a restaurant. He starts begging for food and water, and he starts to tell his story.
Oh, okay. Let's hear it.
Right, because remember, he's a very good liar. He thinks he's a very good liar. So he starts to tell this crazy expedition and this blizzard that separated him at the tail end from the last of the 5 men. Oh, actually, no, sorry. He actually only says he was hired by 5 men at this point. He talks about how he survived by eating rose hips and roots and even eating his own moccasins.
Okay.
But he comes out of the woods with like a shit ton of warm clothes, couple of rifles that don't belong to him, and a very large sum of money.
So what did he say happened to these 5 people? They just died?
They got separated in a blizzard and that he's been now surviving by himself.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
But like these guys are looking at him and being like, this doesn't add up. Like, how did you not look malnourished? Like, what if you were eating rose hips and roots for 2 months?
Well, right. And like you said, he's clearly got like multiple layers of clothing on, or like, and multiple guns or whatever. So it's like, okay, where did you get all that stuff then?
Exactly. So the people in this town start to grow a little weary, obviously. So Alfred's like, whatever, I'm going to leave town. And he goes to Saga.
And I'm sorry, this is a town he's never been to, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, the town that Chief Ouray had told.
Okay, got it.
So he decides, though, to head to this town of Sagash, where he was going to sell some of his belongings to get enough money to go back home to Pennsylvania. He just gives up again, as he always had with all of his other jobs.
Okay.
But in Sagash, he runs into an all too familiar face. And this is the face of a man named Preston Nutter, which is also a great name. But he's one of the original 20 guys.
Okay.
But not one of the last 5 who was with Alfred.
Out of the 10 that stayed?
Yeah, he was one of the 10
whatever.
Yeah, the 10 that stayed back from the first split.
Okay.
He was not part of the 5 that continued on.
Right.
Okay. But he notices that Alfred is carrying the rifle of his friend Israel Swan.
Oh, no.
So Alfred starts to tell his same story again, but Nutter is just like, not buying it, buddy. Okay. Nutter convinces the town to put together a council, and they're going to get to the bottom of it.
I love that shit.
Because he doesn't trust that, because Alfred, too, he said that Israel gave him the rifle before they got separated.
Why?
Yeah. Nutter's like, there's no way that these 4 or 5 other guys would give him one rifle when he already had a pistol and they didn't have enough things to defend. It just doesn't make sense. No, it makes 0 sense. And he didn't think that they would separate at all, or even in a blizzard, because if these 5 men had continued on with Packer the whole time, what would cause them to split later? So he's just like, this makes no sense. So they form the council. It's made up of, this is great, Preston and 4 others from the original group. Packer, they let Packer be on the council to decide his fate. And then some officers from the outpost. Okay. By the way,
what's simpler times?
Right? One of the guys on this council who is the one who decided he was the original. Okay, not the original. So 20 split down to 10 that was still going to go with Alfred, and then they split again. And then one of those men threatened to shoot Alfred.
Yes.
He's on the council.
I think we keep saying his name. Wait, is he goes by Alfred now?
No, he was Alfred. He changed it to Alfred. I think I've probably fucked that up like 18 times. So Alfred is what he preferred.
Alfred. Yeah, okay, never mind. I think I got it mixed backwards.
So yeah, but the guy who threatened to shoot him if he turned around to follow him is now sitting on the council. So
nice.
And as they're trying to sort things out, to make matters worse for Alfred, 2 Ute tribesmen ride into town at the start of this whole thing.
Oh, coincidentally?
Yes. They are holding strips of dried human flesh that they found on a hilltop while hunting.
Oh.
Packer looks at them as they're describing it, and he faints on the spot. He's just a piece of shit.
It's actually kind of funny that he fainted. I guess I wouldn't expect that.
Well, because I think he's just like, he's so used to going to a new city and being able to reinvent himself, and all these people now keep coming back up and busting him, and he's going to tell his story, and then they find human meat.
Right, but I guess I would think, with the way that he's been this entire time, that he would have some sort of lie to get around it. He wouldn't faint. He would just be like, I have no idea what the fuck that is, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, remember, he's very hungry. So he does faint, but you are partially correct, because as soon as he recovers, he begins begging for mercy.
Oh, God.
And he's going to tell them the real tale, in air quotes, of what happened in the wilderness. By the way, the stories from here on out, over the course of the next 20 years, he never tells the same story twice.
I mean, yeah, because if you're a compulsive liar like that, you can't keep all your stories straight.
Story number 1 he starts to tell is basically the same as earlier when he met Nutter. He was given the gun, and that the extra clothes he was wearing, he said, were offered to him from people as soon as he got into town, along with the cash that came from a loan he took out immediately upon going to Los Pinos. Now, remember, he went from Los Pinos to Sagash, so there's like nobody who can.
So what about the fucking bodies?
No bodies, just human meat.
Flesh.
Oh, hold on.
This is dumb.
That's how he explains having the belongings.
Okay.
He starts to say that like the men had run out of their supplies way ahead of time. They scavenged for a while. Then they started to eye each other in a way that could only mean, you look pretty tasty.
And they had to fight for his life. Is that where we're going?
Kind of. Just patient.
Sorry.
So a few days go by and Alfred claims that he left camp to go gather dry firewood. And he comes back and Israel Swan has been killed by the 4 other men with a hatchet to the head. And when he was coming back, those 4 had started to cut up and butcher Swan. And they divvied him up, deciding which pieces to eat. And Alfred had to join in, or else he was fearful he'd be next.
Well, what?
Yeah. They eat Israel. They get some energy. They're going to continue on.
Let me just go back for 1 second. If me, you, and Aaron were out in the wilderness and then I decided to eat Aaron, but if you don't eat him, then I'm going to eat you next.
Well, 4 people, they still have a long distance to go. 4 people just killed him.
I understand, but he's saying that I felt like I had to.
Or else he thought they would kill him.
No, in my head, I would be like, if I didn't partake, then I don't have the strength and they'll probably just kill me next. But
he's thinking more solidarity because remember, they eventually think they're getting somewhere. No. So if they're all accountable, then they'll all keep their mouth shut. Okay.
I don't.
You're overanalyzing a liar's story. So they continue to go on. And much
I would just be better at this.
Much to Alfred's surprise, they decided to kill again. And this time it would be Miller. And they did the same thing as they did before. Hatchet to the head. Divvied him up, divvied up his supplies.
How did they decide on Miller?
I think because he was the slowest. I don't know. He didn't give that much detail. Okay, so this continues one by one.
Okay.
But the important thing to remember here is that they were traveling. So they were only killing as they needed to because they were still moving.
So then there should be scraps.
Yes.
Traveled along.
So as they traveled along, they decide that they would never speak about how they consumed their fallen friends. And now it's down to just Alfred Packer, and Belle. And Belle tries to kill him to get his next meal. And in self-defense, Alfred had to take him down with the hatchet, fearing...
Oh, so...
Yeah.
Okay.
And then fearing he would starve to death, he ate Belle.
Because he's already dead.
Well...
Might as well eat him.
Yeah. Can't go too hungry. Okay. He continues on, and shortly after eating Belle, he crested a hill, and he could see the outpost. So he left the last bits of human meat on top of the hill that the Native Americans found. And that's how he showed up in town with all their belongings. He just had no choice. Solid logic.
Okay.
So the council says, well, the only way to know the truth then is to find the bodies. So they, along with Alfred, head out into the hills. Now, nobody believes him for like even a second. But 2 weeks into the search for the bodies, they really start trusting him when Packer tries to murder one of the outpost officers with a knife, is caught in the act, and then restrained.
Wait, Packard was?
Yeah. Yeah, so they're literally, Packer and the entire council is out looking for the bodies. For some reason, Alfred decides he's going to try to kill one of the officers.
Okay.
And he gets caught doing that.
Oh, you said Packard tried to kill somebody, and I got really confused.
Alfred Packer.
Oh my God, I keep getting confused. Just say Alfred, not Packard.
Well, I keep saying Alfred, so I don't know. You pick. The cannibal.
So he tries to attack one of the guards.
He tries to kill him.
Looking for these bodies.
Tries to slit his throat. Yes.
Okay.
So they restrain him, and they're like, "Fuck this! You're going to jail."
Okay.
Okay. So now he's in that Sagash jail, and the story changes again. So he actually retracts the entire previous story and says that they weren't murdering each other. They just started to fall one by one to the elements, and they had to begrudgingly eat each other.
I mean, wouldn't you just start with that? That would make way more sense.
You would fucking think, dude. So here's some of his confession from in jail. Old man Swan died first and was eaten by the other 5 persons about 10 days out of camp. 4 or 5 days afterwards, Humphrey died and was also eaten. He had about $133. I found the pocketbook and took the money. Sometime after, while I was carrying wood, the wood story again, the butcher was killed. The other two told me accidentally, like, so they were going to say that he fell to the elements, but he caught them killing him. So he was also eaten. Then Bell shot California, I don't know whose nickname that was, with Swan's gun. So I had to kill Bell. Shot him, covered up the remains, and took a large piece along, the back straps. Then traveled 14 days into this agency. So, Bell wanted to kill me with his rifle. And I just made sure that when he tried, knocked his barrel, he struck a tree and broke his gun. So basically, Packer's saying he is the luckiest man alive because he didn't fall to the elements. And that when Bell went crazy and started killing the last of them, that he had to just kill Bell.
Okay. So let's just say that, fine. Now you finally come to the truth, which doesn't make sense why you lied in the first place. But then why did you try to slit this guy's throat?
Because he's fucking insane, Kara.
No, I know. But okay, what's his reasoning for that?
I think that one was probably starting to catch on the most. And he's just like, I'm going to kill him. I mean, he's really backed into a corner at this point. However,
I mean, I get it, but
now he's in jail. He gives this confession and the sheriff comes up to him one evening and says, there's rumors of a lynch mob coming to kill you. He slips Alfred Packer the key, and he disappears into the night.
No.
So.
Well, I don't know.
This is all April, May.
Yeah.
He's gone. He's just gone. So now in August.
Do you think there was actually a lynch mob?
Oh, yeah, there was. They were.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So August comes around, and this local illustrator named John Randolph is out for a walk in the hills.
Okay.
And he discovers 5 bodies all together at the foot of a hill, about 2 miles from the outpost.
Okay.
So the area looks a lot like what Packer described, where Alfred, I'll stop saying Packer, where Alfred
No, it's okay. I get it now.
Described Bell being killed. But now that the snow's gone,
right, you can see everything.
All 5 bodies. And luckily by an illustrator. So he sketches the entire scene. So they're all in the same place. So they obviously didn't fall as they traveled along.
Mm-mm.
They had all been butchered, most with a hatchet wound to the head. One's head was completely gone. The torsos were all completely flayed. The legs were skeletal. All anywhere that on an animal you would take meat, these people had the illustrator says they all still had flesh left in places, but none in the meatiest of places.
Ugh.
Okay. Now everyone knows, this dude literally 2 miles from the outpost kills and eats all these guys and spends months in this camp basically just eating them slowly.
Eating them.
Until he was ready to come out of the woods.
Interesting.
So remember, he's on the run, right? And he evades police for the next 8 fucking years.
Dang.
Then, though, his story is ran in a local newspaper and it grows. The story's blown wide open, after the bodies are discovered, right? So he's now on the run for 8 years.
Okay.
Nobody knows
Jeez.
what snapped inside of him 2 miles away from where they were going, where he just kills and eats them. But in 1883, he's eventually found living in Cheyenne, Wyoming, living under the alias John Shartsey.
Why would you pick that name? Shartsey? He
picked Alfred, too. He's just a weird guy.
Well,
Stop looking for logic in the cannibal, Kara. He is found, though, because he has another chance encounter with one of the original 20 guys.
What are the odds of all of this?
Seriously. Why wouldn't you go to the complete other side of the country?
Why are you trying to find logic?
Fuck off. They report him to the local sheriff. He's jailed. He gives another confession.
I cannot.
A whole nother story, but then says that he had to go on the run for fear of being killed by the mob. Okay, so here's the story this time around. He was out collecting wood. He returned and found Bell cooking and eating some meat. Then he realized that Bell had killed all the other 4. Hungry, he broke down. He joined in the feast. And then at one point, Bell turned on him, and in self-defense, he had to shoot him and hit him in the head with his hatchet.
Okay.
Then he just didn't know what to do because he didn't want to be blamed for it. So he stayed in the wilderness for 60 days living off the fallen men until he finally decides he has to return to town. Okay. A lengthy trial ensues. Alfred is pleading not guilty, self-defense.
Okay.
He is only found guilty of 1 murder, premeditated murder, and he's sentenced to death by hanging. So we're getting there finally.
Why just one?
I think they really at that point were like, because he said Bell killed all the others, so he killed Bell.
So they're just trying to get him on
They're
something.
just trying to get him.
Okay.
He's sentenced to death by hanging, except because his story had been blown up for now 8 years, he actually had some fans out there who helped him find a legal loophole.
Stop it.
And they end up overturning the murder charge.
What is this, Ted Bundy? What's happening?
A second trial is held with a new judge, and after a much faster trial, he's sentenced to 40 years in prison.
Why does he have fans?
I don't know. People must have liked his cooking. That's terrible.
He didn't cook.
Oh, he sure did.
Oh.
Okay, so though he's sentenced to 40 years, so rumors had it he was a really good prisoner. He became a vegetarian.
Oh, wow.
He even made elaborate doll houses for the warden's children, complete with electricity and furniture.
That's fucking creepy. Don't give those to your kids.
After 19 years in prison in 1901, the Denver Post publishes a series of articles questioning this man's guilt, and he receives parole. He lives for 6 more years working as a guard for the Denver Post, where he maintains his innocence until he dies in 1907.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm not mad that he ate everybody if they had died because of the elements and then he ate them. I just couldn't be mad about
the
that.
rugby team. Is it Uruguayan Air Flight 571? Right.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot like that.
And you do what you have to do to survive. So I can also understand where the parole came from, because like that last story, while isn't believable because we know all of his past, it's believable to the fact like whatever. You can't prove or disprove it, and that's all you need, right? With juries.
Yeah, so I guess it's like, okay, if the last story he's saying what's his face killed everybody so that he just killed that person.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay.
But like
it's not the truth, because this right, you could have just been honest and said that right off the get. Okay, yeah. But you didn't. You came up with you gave us like 5 different stories.
He was scared.
Clearly, whether or not there's some truth to all of these little stories, right? Like maybe it was, everyone was kind of getting into like an argument or whatever, like panic, hysteria type of deal. And then something ensued, a fight or whatever broke loose. And then somehow he managed to kill everybody. It's crazy, but it doesn't make sense. So to me, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners or you are probably thinking they were probably all sleeping and you fucking hatcheted them.
Yeah.
Because how else do you hatchet everybody? You can't.
And most of them, so there was a lot of cloth fragments in the wounds, as if he probably put a towel over their face or some sort of cloth over it and hit them so that if they tried to scream or whatever, and he didn't have to look in their eyes.
Right. So anyway, I'm not mad that he ate them. I'm mad that he killed them to eat them.
At the age of 65, he's dead. His official cause of death was written as dementia, along with vast amounts of trouble and worry. So at least the people he ate him alive.
I was just going to say, I hope that they haunted his fucking ass.
Oh, you know.
To no end.
So yeah, that's the cannibal, or the Colorado cannibal. He maintained his innocence till the day he died. I will say though, after years of being a terrible, terrible human, it was said his last years he was quiet, he was kind, he became well-liked and charitable. And I think it's exactly what you said. He was probably so haunted by the scenes and what he had done, like it just caught up to him and he was trying to be better. It's kind of like a Scrooge story. If Scrooge ate the poor.
I can't imagine if you're in prison back then, there's not a lot for you to do other than...
Yeah, but remember, he was out for 6 years too after he died, where he...
Oh yeah, I guess we're talking about...
That's when he was kind and charitable.
Okay. All right, so...
Couple fun facts about him now. So you can go see his grave. And because he actually did serve time before he was honorably discharged for the seizures, remember?
Oh, yeah.
They had to give him a army tombstone.
That's crap.
But his grave has been vandalized so many times over the years that they literally had to pour a giant concrete pad over it to protect his remains. And like, I think one of the Ripley's museums claims to have his skull.
Okay, Oh, you have more facts?
I have just one last one that's a light thing. So if we're going to get heavy, I got something light for us to end on.
Let me just ask you, let's say he wasn't this terrible person, that they were all traveling. Okay. So everything essentially happened except for he wasn't this bad, terrible liar, right? So they're just all on this mission or whatever we're calling it. Okay. And then they're getting to the point where they're in the predicament that they're at. They don't have any food. They have no food left. They have no rations, like whatever. Would you be okay with him killing them? They're not all going to live. They're not. They don't have enough food, whatever. He was trying to survive. Then how would you feel about this story?
I guess I would feel better than I do. It's still a terrible thing, but it's like how everyone kind of gives the Donners a pass.
Because here's how I'm thinking. This whole little thing started with these 21 or 20 people going, and then just happenstance running into him. Mm-hmm. So all these people were going to do this regardless. Yeah,
and I don't think he planned necessarily to kill and eat them.
No,
I think he was just trying to get money, but
he was just trying to kind of hustle them and be a liar. So I don't think that he set out to be like, you know what, I'm going to fucking eat these people.
No, I think something, obviously he was mentally unwell his entire life. And I think something snapped, because remember when he does do this, they're only 2 miles from where they were going.
Right.
Like literally and then he sat there for 60 days and ate them.
Yeah. So it's like delusion hit. And that's like a different thing. I'm just saying like it's wild to me because I don't know. This is a weird one. I don't think what he did was right, obviously. And like I said, I would not be mad at him if he ate those people because they were dying or they had already passed and they're just there anyway. And he's trying to survive. Yeah. I wouldn't be able to do that, but I wouldn't be mad. I just couldn't. I don't know. This is a weird one.
No, that one, if the one story was true where they were falling along the way, sort of deal, and they were in bad health,
that makes sense.
Like you got to do what you got to do to survive, but it's obviously just not true.
So maybe he kind of already, and he already supposedly killed another person, potentially. So if that's, let's just say he did kill that person. He already has it in him.
Oh yeah.
So maybe he was just like, you know what? I've always wondered what people taste like, and I'm really fucking hungry.
We'll never know. But
or do you think that it was like, yeah, they're 2 miles or whatever from where they're supposed to be, and he knows that once they get to their destination that these 5 are going to turn on him because he's been such a shitty person, and they're going to like,
I think that probably plays in part of it.
So he's like, I'm just going to fucking kill all these people.
Because they were probably refusing to pay him at all by this point.
Right. And they're obviously going to accuse him of a lot of shit. So, okay. Yeah, this is I don't know what this is. I don't know how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, he's just a monster.
Oh,
he's lived on in legend because though he died in 1907, a biopic is released in 1980 recounting his life. And somehow that story gets to Trey Parker, one of the creators of South Park.
Oh, God.
And in 1993, he creates, writes, and releases Cannibal, the musical.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So there's a literal musical show about the life of Alfred, which I need to watch this now. But if movies aren't your thing, if you do want to go visit near the site where he did his, eating, the University of Colorado is there now, and they have the Alfred Packer Memorial Grill, and their slogan is "Have a friend for lunch."
No effing way.
I'm honestly shocked.
That's fucking hilarious.
With as much cancel culture as there is, how have people not? Although it's at a university, so I'm sure it's
I love that.
I know.
Oh my God. That's so fucked up.
I love it too. The name of it is like something bad happened to him.
Right.
Why don't we call this the Bell Swan Humphreys Memorial Grill? No.
Oh my God. That's so fucked up, but I love it.
Oh.
You know that there's ancestors of these poor people that were fucking murdered and eaten that are like, this is so disrespectful, but also that's so funny.
Because it was only 140 years ago that he was doing this.
Right.
But there's definitely, maybe there's not that many. Depends on how old they were when they got eaten.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
they might not have
think about that.
Many relatives.
Well, they still had brothers and sisters and family. Yeah, maybe not their own.
On that note, should we start wrapping it up? I'm pretty hungry.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that. I was like, I'm tired.
I thought you were going to go right over it. Okay, so with that being said, is there a steak emoji? If you made it this far, drop us a steak emoji.
There's probably a cow.
All right, something meaty, and we'll know. Let us know if you'd go to the Memorial Grill, or if you have any other cannibal stories.
Or if you go to that school, take a picture.
Yeah, if you go to the University of Colorado, I want pictures of the restaurant.
Oh my God.
Leave us a review, and what else should they do, Kara? Curator Kara?
Well, they should just love and appreciate us, and we love and appreciate you, and I don't really know where to go from here, so... do the most important thing of all. Creep a reel, you oddballs.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Don't eat your friends.
Or do if you need to.
Bye.
Bye.